We are live. Welcome to the Omnist
Live.
Hour. Rob Trump, and we're trying something new today. Omnist Hour Duets with my good friend Brandon from Oz. So welcome aboard, Brandon.
Thanks, Rob. Good to be here at the
For
Omnist
those who
Hour.
haven't met you,
Duets, the debut show, the debut broadcast.
for those didn't catch your impromptu step into the Omnist Hour a few days ago, give us a little brief introduction of who you are, how we met, maybe.
hmm So, my name's Brandon Reed, and I'm from Oz. I'm the young Wizard of Oz, maybe. And Rob and I met in China. So we both have a background in the arts and performance and classical theatre. And we met in Shanghai, China, when Rob started the first expat theatre company. And we'd worked together on the first shows and establishing that company. And that was Rob's brainchild. And my background since having moved to China has evolved into esoterics, mysticism, nature loving, and bass guitar playing, and just exploring what it is to be a human being, and trying to get over everything that has been programmed into me over the years. And so that I can be a liberated, sovereign, integral being. So I think that's where Rob and I have found a kinship, we have kindred spirits in our journeys, and so it's an honor to be here on
It was
the
actually
special bishop.
remember Robert Vicenzio? It was his music theater workshop we met at.
Yep, that's
And
right.
that was actually the first sort of professional music theater workshop I had attended. And we met up in that, and I just remember thinking you were like the most incredibly open and improvisational guy I've ever met. You know, I've been acting a long time, but I'd never seen anybody with the ability to just riff on whatever coming along. Like I was telling you the other day, I kind of envied it, especially when we had our karaoke parties. We do kamikaze karaoke, putting some random Chinese song and then making up words to it based on the video that was in the back. And you were just hot dead hilarious at that. But that kind of leads into what we were thinking about this today.
26th floor of the apartment there in Shanghai.
18th floor penthouse.
Yeah. They were, mate. Thank you. Thanks for the compliment. I'm glad the spontaneity. I've always felt like life is kind of improvisation. And when we get to set it up, we're buying a microphone. So the deal is here that we're all giving ourselves permission to go wherever we want to go with this. Well, that's just like
well, that kind of ties into where we're both kind of at spiritually is that every incarnation is an improvisation. You're taking the same soul, putting them on a different with a bunch of different they're going to encounter, and that's how souls teach themselves basic lessons from many different perspectives. You really don't understand important things like love, loyalty, any complex concept. You're not going to really understand in the one lifetime.
Right. Being able to view and different physical, different cultural builders and different planetary and dimensional is what's getting us there.
And so we just been thinking about your talk first. We had a couple of different people on. Maybe let's talk about what's happened in the arts community in the last decades with wokeness. That certainly the Hollywood entertainment industry is kind of filtered from to the rest of the world.
I like the way you used the word infected, because to me it seems to me that, and this is thinking about this and observing people who have been infected by this wokeness, is that it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't seem to make a difference what a person's cultural background is, what their educational background is, what their professional background is. It doesn't discriminate. It's like this something almost like a genetic disposition or vulnerability towards these ideas of progressivism. Really, I think programs of progressivism that are being installed into the people, and unbeknownst to them, they're like a virus, they become infected, and they don't realize that they're infected.
And from my point of view, I know more about U.S. history than people. real progressivism in the United States 100 years ago with Teddy Roosevelt. He started the American Progressive Party. And if you look at the platform of that party, much of it is similar to what you would associate with being progressive today. Very libertarian, very rights oriented, very freedom oriented. And all of a sudden now what passed for progressive is much more like what I remember being if you watch any of the Taiwan or old Hong Kong movies about what the Cultural Revolution was like, what the march into communism was like, it smells a lot like the time of the Cultural Revolution, where this is the only way supposed to present topic, where some of these were actually, you can't perform this anymore. No, you have to perform opposite this with Chinese themes. You have to do it thematically in the way approved by the party.
It's interesting that you compare it to communism. I wonder if those comparisons is even more prominent than we might realize. There's a manifesto or like a manual, Omnist document which is floating around. I wish I knew the name. I'll have to find it, put it in the description below. And these ideas are inserted into cultures not by any type of accident, and using a type of method that communists have used in many different cultures. And I feel like progressivism is one of them. I have to check it. I have to read it first myself. But I'm going to get that. Because it's come up on a couple of different conversations with people. Most recently, with a guy called Bose, who is a legitimate freedom fighter and a real leader who's emerged in Australia. Try googling him. That name. You won't see anything about it because he's been so censored. And his name is Ricardo Bose, BSSI, and he has really taken a strong leadership role in the freedom movement. The freedom movement is something that started in Australia because of the pandemic. And Australia was the first country in the world to have vaccines mandated. And Australia was and because of this extremely authoritarian approach, our freedom movement was born. And who would have thought in Melbourne, tradesmen who were told they weren't allowed to go to work, weren't allowed to live unless they got the inoculation, took to the streets peacefully and marched down Flinders to Main Street in Melbourne. And we met with not police, but an armed private army, a private security force, shot bullets in the streets. And this is an outrage. And just becoming this progressive virus, as we're calling it, had nothing to say about Rob. Nothing.
In fact, my friend
he said that
of BLM and Antifa, which absolutely were violent, which people died, which businesses were torched. Even black businesses were especially torched because they were largely in inner city neighborhoods with the large black population. So it's like you're not anti-racist, you're just anarchist, basically communist anarchists, as far as I see. And they're even paying people, the ones that were caught, instead of prosecuting them, they're paying them money for the trouble of having put them in jail for crimes. It's insane, absolutely insane. What's going on in some of the cities in the U.S. And if you listen to street media, you're not hearing any of it on internet.
No, they're showing it. In fact, I asked a friend of mine about what we're talking about. This incident that happened in Melbourne with trade. They call them Coordinate State.
It sounds similar to the trucker things that are going on in Canada, and started to happen here. It sort of got shoveled and dug. I don't know what happened with it. It was pretty intense in Canada.
Started here. The truckers started here first.
They get the hardest because you start make them take a PCR test at the state, right? Yeah, that slows them down. That's expensive. Or trucks are even being turned back because we don't recognize that vaccine passport, or that you don't have the amp or whatever. You've already invested a lot of money in diesel and everything get there, and you got to go back and not deliver your load, piss off your customer. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're
and that's
destroying the
where it
business.
really was at the border, because the border closures was forcing the truckies to turn back, not be able to do their job, and they were the first ones to stand up and start this whole movement. Just to come back to this thing that happened with a friend of mine, and she's an artist, and I've known her, a lovely person, very worldly person, say. She's no fool, she's been doing the book. And I told her what happened in those trading shops on the street, rubber bullets. And you know what she said to me? She said, well, you know, a lot of them were Trump supporters. And I thought, wow. So in your mind, that justifies it.
Yeah.
In your mind, that makes it all right.
All throughout history, this is how authoritarian regimes have demonized anyone that got in their way. Exactly like the Spanish Inquisition, which, you know, if you're a Monty Python fan, has a special meaning for you, right? But, you know, it's the way all religions have demonized anybody from another religion. It's this kind of hateful thing that has caused Christians to massacre Muslim towns and Muslims to massacre Christian towns. It's and this is why I think that I'm very excited and there's behind that. This, and it's what I call it, the anti-God. Mind controlling sower of hate discord.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that there is any kind of benevolence in the universe. And I think a lot of these people have been really fried to the idea of evil because of a sense of betrayal they feel from their religious upbringing.
Yeah, so they see the errors, the dualism that they were fed in as children, and they think, oh, well, I'm going to go look for something, and they flee to oneness, which is this dualism that leading new classes of enemies based on new, wokeness is essentially unity of the left, right? That's how they speak of we're all united against evil, right? Government.
Yeah,
well, it's
also
like
they create two areas of victory. So when you've got like the left and the right, they form this hypercentrism in the middle. So then anything is evil, anything to the right is evil, and they say
it's really funny. I don't know if you're seeing a lot of what's happening in the U.S. now. We're having this woke Hollywood out actually turning on each other. Kind of over this Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, over the slapper her around the world. And now, they're different groups of the woke tribe are calling for exercising other groups of the woke. Same thing with the transgender issue.
That
now you've got women liberal by transgender.
Itself.
Yep. And it's kind of sad because I think this image we shared before, the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. This is kind of the meme of circular creation, which is a lot of what the neo-Buddhist Hindu crowd tells you is true. It's all and endless cycle. Only way you're going to get away is finding nirvana and suddenly becoming enlightened. And this is stupid. This is not how creation works. It's not cyclical. It's evolving. Anybody who tells you that everything was made perfect in 6 days and then God went off to the golf course isn't it? You can see that things aren't perfect. I'm sorry. I don't care how dogmatic a follower of the Bible you are. You believe that story, you're an idiot. And you're an idiot that's likely to get assimilated by board. Because if you're so dogmatic as to say, this book is absolute gospel, even though it's been translated in millions, there are books that have been taken out. And every book is a result of oral tradition. Before that, before writing, every culture had epic poetry. And because there's all these codes. But the codes were added because they saw changes already happening. They wanted to keep more changes from getting into the Bible. That doesn't mean that it's perfect. And, some older versions of some of the books that are being found are showing that there were divergences, there were differences in the Bible that don't match up with the so-called codes that were in there to make sure every copy was perfect. There are Torah that were removed that are actually proving to be the most useful to new researchers, like the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. I don't know if you've ever delved into those areas of study. A lot of
I haven't noticed
into the
hearing about the Enoch. I've crossed it in my research travels, little snips and grabs pop up in the Book of Enoch.
So basically, some of the stuff you get from the original version of Genesis, which talks about Elohim instead of God creating, which is a plural for the shining ones, something like that. If you'd retranslate the original archaic Hebrew of the Bible, it sounds a lot more like either gods or aliens. creating human beings. Then if you add back in some of these other books that use part of the biblical canon, like Ecclesiastes and Enoch, it becomes apparent. Then some of the other writings, like the Sumerian texts and cuneiform texts and Vedic writings from India, they're all full of gods fighting wars, fighting in the heavens. And interestingly enough, God reincarnating as new versions of themselves.
So what do you think stuff's never made it the mainstream level?
Well, my theory, and I talked about it in a recent podcast, is that if you go back and look at different traditions, there seems to be a root in all traditions of a messianic character, where certain key souls, God, if you will, come back, they reincarnate. In Hindu tradition, folks like Krishna, Vishnu, they a lot of it written around incarnation of Vishnu or whatever, Shiva, or that kind of an old age tradition. And in the Sumerian text, don't say incarnation, but there's like you go cycles of these are the same gods during this time when like the heavens were created, and later now the gods are these, and then you war feet. And as you look at the visual histories of cities, they have their own main god of the city, but that gets conquered. That god's at a level, and then you take a new god who have been more powerful because their people conquered.
Now that sounds just like earthly conquest,
exactly.
What people for monarchy and rulers.
There are only a handful of mentions of quote one god, the Yahweh God, in Genesis. Most of the rest are God or Yah or Yah-El, which is one of these Elohim that is Yahweh, or Baal. All of the archangels, Raphael, Gabriel, Michael, all this ones to those or were sitting up. So a lot more to be found there than most people are finding. And it's funny to watch biblical scholars who are either a Judaic tradition or the Christian tradition or Islamic tradition, because most people don't realize that the Bible, the Old Bible, the Old Testament, is recognized as Islam. In addition to the Quran, and in fact in the Quran, many places get the sayings of Jesus. Jesus is known as Isu.
Interesting.
And so people think that these are three totally different religions when they all share at least part of the rights and some of their beliefs, and all are working off of inaccurate translations.
Sure.
Because you're aware of the King James Bible.
In your Bible studies or in your studies of Jesus, about a trip journey to Egypt, where he actually spent a night in the king's chamber of the great.
It ties into where I was going to with the real story. Jesus. One was wiped out. So have you ever watched the movie called?
No.
Very good. That came out about the great Alexandria. It's very famous. It's about this Aristotelian Platonic teacher at the university. Was female. What was her name?
And this is when building.
At any rate, it's about the time of the destruction of not the total destruction of the library, but basically its first big hit that it took for Christianity. And it's interesting because it doesn't say much about what's going on there before. In fact, the main cult of Egypt, the cult that was being suppressed, was monotheistic cult within a paganistic system. So there's this god, their chief. This cult was a god called Serapis, who was the earthly representative of the divine bull, wore a special headdress, and had a lot of characteristics like Christ. And my belief is the true Christian religion was wiped out by the one, systematically centered on Alexandria. And that's why there's no real evidence of a historical existence anywhere in the Middle East. The only somebody can cite is writing of Josephus. But if you know anything about this, that he was a traitor. He was one of the leaders of Jews in the revolt against them, who, when they were to commit suicide, he was the last to go. He was the one holding the straws. When he found again, the last one says, "Well, it's just me," and the last other guy gets sued, and he went out by himself, who made the Romans, and ended up being one of the chief advisors of the empire.
That's a heck of a go.
Yeah, interesting. And he sourced anywhere within about 100 years of story that talks about a cat that seems like in this history of the Jewish Vault. Anyway, the really good YouTube thing on this called Caesar's Messiah. He does this, wrote a book. He has a theory that basically the Christianity of the New Testament was largely based upon kind of creating a melded version of Messianic Judaism, which will basically serve the state, don't oppose the state, render under Caesar what Caesar's, and then God what is God's, right? Which
Sure.
The Catholic Church. Okay, you just do everything the church tells you, and you'll get favor of God. In fact, they're only getting places. That's why
with the state.
So my theory is that this Sarah worship, this bull worship, was the remnant of what were the real Christians, the real story of Messiah. It is actually going further to the bulls.
Sure. What's coming to my mind is, and I believe Pleiades.
Exactly. And do you know who the last centaur was?
Who?
Hierog. Do you know what symbol in which Constantine occurred? Was not a cross. It was a Chi-Rho, a Christogram, they call it. A monogram that we use long for the supposed birth of Christ. They have descriptions of this Chi-Rho Christogram from the Hellenistic.
Right. So now we're talking the true origin of Christianity.
And tar means bull. 5 means cent means 10. 10-fingered bull people, which are actually showing up in the old cave paintings, prehistoric caves. Many of the Aboriginal tribes in the Americas and elsewhere are around, basically bull-headed humanoids. But the bull head is a very special. And bull sacrifices are very important in many old cultures. The story of the Minotaur, who was like the evil bull that had to be imprisoned in the labyrinth, is one of many ways that later religions tried to credit this bull worship. So my theory is that real Christ was not even human. Was the last of centaurs. If you look at the centaurs in the myths, it's interesting. Centaurs are supposedly a separate group of, have their own communities on the earth. And they come into conflict with other tribes around. One is they're always at war with a Lapith. Doesn't say Lapiths are, but always bring with centaurs. And they're mad at them because they're always stealing their women and, intercopulating to be mad. And the only centaur that was tolerated by humans was this Chi-Rho because he was a great teacher and healer and taught humanity many things that nobody. And you've heard the meat story. The god, actually Titans, the anti-gods that gave humanity fire. There are all sorts of stories kind of tacked to some species giving humanity gifts, including pieces of their DNA. In research, both keywords for humanity and all a piece of one story.
Well, thank you.
Where do you want to go into some questions?
Well, I have to go and get ready now because it's all 4 minutes
later. It's only 3:30 here.
Yeah, it's early. It's 7:30, but I'm going very low. So I'm going to do things to sleep.
Well, let's close out with some future topics and put out to it. I haven't seen. I need to figure out how to see comments coming in because I can't watch the live stream while we're doing it.
Okay.
So I'm going to see if
is there a comment or something going on there?
Yeah, and we'll see if we get any information for next topics or
cool.
Discuss. And we
How long have we been going? Probably 45 minutes. So that's a nice session. That's a nice period. I used to call the periods when I was at school, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it's been great, mate, to do this, set it up like this so that we can have the technology to do this as well as the mind, meeting the mind is Duets. So I hope everyone or got something from it. Or something, nothing. And see you sometime, Rob. God bless.
All best of your squeeze.
Thank you. I'll tell you that. You as well, the way to have a going with youngling. Or at least put her on so I can meet her.
Yeah, so shy. She comes in once in a while. I see her with the background. So she's from a bird.
Maybe.
Maybe I'll just send him time. He had to learn to be a little patient with his class music and
How old is he?
He's a little responsive.
5 months. Wow. Wow, that's amazing, mate.
Pretty
All right.
interesting to have a baby in a country for one thing, and then a Muslim country is like mind-blowing new experience.
Well, that we could talk about on our nutrition.
If you want, we don't give a fuck. We'll see you next time.
See ya.